Question 16, Honourable Member for Garth, Mrs Kane.
Thank you, Mr President. I would like to ask the Minister for Education, Sport and Culture whether school catchments are being reviewed and if he will make a statement.
On the Minister to reply, Dr Allenson.
Thank you, Mr President. School catchment areas are reviewed regularly to ensure they're fit for purpose and continue to support local communities. Considerations when reviews take place include current school numbers, the likely impact of planned residential housing developments and migratory changes which affect the Isle of Man population. Parents who wish to make out-of-catchment area requests are invited to refer to the school admissions policy and guidance notes for out-of-catchment area requests, which are available on the Department of Education, Sport and Culture section of the Isle of Man Government website. Thank you, Mr President.
Supplementary, Mrs Kane.
Thank you, Mr President. I thank the Minister. Can he advise whether any school catchments are being reviewed for this year with the annual promotion from the Department seeking people to register pupils for the reception year next year?
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr President. I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for her question. I can confirm that there are ongoing negotiations both in the north of the island and also in the central Douglas area as we look at the expected number of pupils entering various schools in that area. Thank you.
Mr Speaker.
Thank you. Notwithstanding the school's individual policy on accepting out-of-catchment applications, would the Minister accept that the law as it stands allows parents to send their child to any school on the Isle of Man unless it is seriously detrimental to the school to allow otherwise? And this is an important freedom of choice that the parents have in terms of where their child should be educated, and it can be an informed choice.
Dr Allenson.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I think Mr President, I beg your pardon. I think Mr Speaker makes a very good point. We do have various different catchment areas. We obviously have 3 schools with an all-island catchment area, 2 faith schools and also Bonsgol Gelga. A recent procedural letter was sent out to head teachers informing them that the primary decision maker around out-of-catchment requests will be the head teacher of the receiving school, and due consideration must be made to the provisions indicated in Section 15 of the Education Act 2001, namely around prejudice to children living within the catchment area and to policies and procedures concerning admission to the school. One factor that will affect decisions is the allocation of staff to the school, and care must be taken to avoid a situation where admissions do not match up with the expected staffing levels. In addition, care must be taken not to discriminate in relation to equality issues. But he is correct that we try to be as flexible as possible, as well as balancing the overall catchment areas and capacity at schools at the same time. Thank you.
Supplementary, Mrs Kane.
Thank you, Mr President. I'm interested to hear the Minister say that I think that's a significant policy change, that the head teacher will be the decision maker in the initial out-of-catchment request. I think that's a real positive. But I would ask, do we need catchment areas for schools that are under the roll? Should we just say that they're open catchment?
Minister. Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Sorry, Mr President. In terms of catchment areas and whether we need them or not, I think the answer is yes. We do need to try to balance the population, the student population across our island. This not only prevents schools being overfilled, but also helps protect some of those small rural schools from losing a lot of their pupils, because we need to both recognise and embrace the diversity of the schools we have across our island. In terms of those schools with a low school roll, what the department is doing is working with those head teachers to see if we can encourage more pupils to enter those schools by enhancing the various services they can provide, such as outdoor play areas, but also help publicise those schools and the unique role they play in terms of our rural environments. Thank you.
Supplementary, Ms Edge.
Thank you, Mr President. And I too are pleased that the head teacher will have the say on an out-of-catchment. But the Minister did say in his answer that there's got to be a balance of staffing levels. Can the Minister confirm, is the head teacher responsible for their staffing levels?
Insofar as this relates to the question in the paper, Dr Allenson.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. In terms of staffing levels for schools, those are obviously predetermined by the expected school roll, and so with large numbers of late out-of-catchment area requests, that can sometimes draw that into difficulty. But what the department tries to do is to support, advise, and also finance all those schools to provide the best facilities that they can for the pupils registered with them. Thank you.
Final supplementary, Mrs. Kane.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I thank the Minister for his answers today, and I am pleased that he is looking at policies that protect small rural schools. On that basis, he will be aware that there was a recent Facebook campaign, advertising campaign, by St Thomas's Church of England School with its all-island catchment, although no public transport provided to drop pupils at that school. Does he think it's appropriate then for schools with small class sizes in the state school system to promote the fact that they have availability? Thank you, Mr. President.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think we have some outstanding teachers in our schools and some outstanding schools which are the heart of the local communities. I think we need to embrace that, and actually, despite Facebook campaigns, word of mouth from parents and support of parents for their schools is an important part of our education service. Thank you.